The rain was relentless that morning, the kind that soaked through even the strongest umbrella and blurred the world into shades of gray. Marcus Reed, a 34-year-old single father, clutched his worn leather briefcase as he sprinted down the street, his polished shoes splashing through puddles. He was late, again. His son, Jordan, had woken up sick, and Marcus had stayed behind to make him breakfast, check his fever, and promise he'd be home early. Now, his job, the only thing keeping them afloat, was hanging by a thread. He was just a few blocks away from the office when he heard the sharp sound of a heel snapping, followed by a gasp and a thud. A woman had fallen hard on the slick sidewalk, her papers scattered into the rain like confetti. She looked disoriented, clutching her scraped knee. Without a second thought, Marcus darted toward her. "Hey, are you all right?" he said, crouching down, his voice calm and reassuring despite his pounding heart. The woman looked up, her hair wet and sticking to her face. I think I twisted my ankle," she said, wincing as she tried to stand. Marcus immediately took off his jacket, draping it over her shoulders. "Don't move too fast. Let me help." He gathered her papers, soaking wet and smudged, and gently helped her to her feet. Cars honked around them, and the city rushed by, indifferent to their small moment. He didn't notice the expensive handbag or the subtle diamond earrings she wore, only that she was hurt and needed someone to care. By the time he got her a cab, helped her inside, and made sure she could get home safely, his phone buzzed with a message from his supervisor. "Marcus, this is the third time you've been late. We need to talk." He stood in the rain, watching the taxi disappear, feeling the weight of the world settle on his shoulders again. He'd done the right thing, but deep down, he knew what it was going to cost him. Marcus walked into the sleek glass building 20 minutes late, dripping water across the polished marble floor. His manager, Greg, stood waiting by the front desk with that familiar scowl, the one that had haunted Marcus for months. "Reed," Greg snapped, folding his arms. "You're a good worker. But this is becoming a habit. I can't keep covering for you." "Sir, I had an emergency. There was a woman hurt." Greg raised a hand. "Save it. You're done. HR will process your paperwork by noon." The words hit Marcus like a punch to the gut. He didn't argue. He just nodded, collected his things, and walked out. For a moment, he stood outside the building, staring up at the glass tower that had defined his struggle for years, then turned away, heading home to his son. That night, as he tucked Jordan into bed, the boy looked up at him with sleepy eyes. "Dad, are we gonna be okay?" Marcus smiled faintly, even though his heart was breaking. "Yeah, buddy. We always find a way." He didn't know that, at that very moment, the same woman he'd helped earlier, now in dry clothes, sitting in a luxurious penthouse, was staring at a business card she'd found in her purse. His name was printed neatly at the bottom. Marcus Reed. Logistics Coordinator. Crestview Holdings. Her heart skipped. She whispered to herself, "That's my company." The next morning, Marcus showed up at a local cafe with his laptop, searching desperately for new jobs. His resume was solid, but opportunities were scarce. As he typed, he couldn't shake the image of that woman, the rain in her eyes, the way she'd said thank you softly before leaving. He hoped she was okay. Meanwhile, at Crestview Holdings, the mood was tense. The company's new CEO was set to arrive, the mysterious heiress who had taken over after her father's passing. No one had seen her in person yet, and the staff buzzed with speculation. When the elevator doors opened, the room fell silent. The woman from the rain, elegant, composed, and unmistakably powerful, stepped out. Her assistant whispered, "Ms. Monroe, your meeting with department heads is ready." But Clara Monroe wasn't listening. Her mind replayed the morning before, the stranger who had stopped everything to help her, expecting nothing in return. She remembered his name, Marcus Reed. She turned to her assistant. "Get me the employment records for Marcus Reed." Immediately. Within minutes, she was holding his file, and the note of termination dated just hours before. Her eyes hardened, then softened again with guilt. She'd been so caught up in her own world that she hadn't realized the price he'd paid for helping her. 2 days later, Marcus got an email. It was brief. Dear Mr. Reed. We would like to invite you to interview for a new position at Crestview Holdings. Sincerely. Clara Monroe, CEO. He almost deleted it, thinking it was a mistake. But something in his gut told him to go. When he arrived, the receptionist led him to the top floor, somewhere he'd never been allowed before. As the doors opened, he froze. Sitting behind the massive oak desk was the woman from the rain, smiling softly. Mr. Reed, she said, standing up. We meet again. He blinked, realizing who she was. You're my boss. Yes, she said with a warm laugh. And I owe you an apology, and a thank you. She paused, her tone softening. You helped me when you had everything to lose. And I want to make that right. She offered him a new position, head of operations, triple his old salary. But Marcus hesitated. I don't want a job out of pity, he said quietly. Clara smiled. It's not pity. It's recognition. People like you are what this company needs: integrity, heart, and courage. You didn't help me because you wanted something. You helped because it was right. That's the kind of leadership I want here. Marcus exhaled slowly, feeling a lump in his throat. Thank you, he said finally. For giving me another chance. As he shook her hand, Clara leaned slightly forward. And thank you, for reminding me that not all heroes wear suits or sit in offices. Weeks later, Marcus walked through the company halls, his son's photo on his desk and his confidence restored. Clara often stopped by his office, always with a warm smile. What started as gratitude slowly grew into something deeper, a quiet connection built on mutual respect and shared humanity. One rainy afternoon, as they stood by the window watching the city blur beneath the storm, Clara turned to him. Funny how one act of kindness can change everything, she said. Marcus smiled. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to stop running, and help someone who's fallen. And in that moment, they both knew, the rain that once ruined his day had, in truth, washed away the pain of his past, leading him towards something far more beautiful than either of them had ever expected.